going to be a really quick review day just for me to answer any questions you may have, and then also give you your study guide and tell you what study materials are available. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Just a quick sidebar, make sure you turn in those essays today. I know it may have been a hang up on the assignment sheet being available, so just make sure you've reviewed that before you submit to make sure you got all that. I know I passed out in class and talked about it during lecture, but just make sure that you have checked everything needed in that assignment sheet, as well as reviewed your previous feedback to ensure you have a good grade. So I just wanted to point that out. So for the exam 2, it's going to be all about Clifton's strengths. So what I have here is the top of study area, or study areas that we want to kind of make sure we cover, or you cover as you study and prepare for the exam. And then review questions. This is for you. It's not for you to turn into me. These are just some questions. If you can answer these questions pretty well, then you should do okay on the exam. This sheet is up on Canvas. This sheet is available on Canvas, so make sure you can check it there amongst some other tools. So the first, I'll just kind of go through the study areas and give you some ideas on what you need to really focus on for that. The SQ quick reference card, that's where all those strengths were strength themes were listed out that I gave you. Be familiar with those, be able to point out some keywords and define them. It'll help you out if you can do that for most of them. Then for sure, the 4 domains of strength, I want you to know them, be able to define them, and then also be able to describe them in the context of how understanding them could help you really develop and build a team. Kind of like when we talked about in class, the idea that you don't have to necessarily be well-rounded, but your team should be, and how working with elements. Oh, did I press record? Okay, thanks, Erin. I forgot. How working with different elements of the domains when building teams, how that can make your team stronger. That whole portion of the text, be familiar with how to articulate that in your own words. Then the strengths formula, what we talked about. Obviously, you can know those components, but I really want you to be able to describe those components on how they work together in order to make you go from a talent to a strength. So being able to talk about that skills, knowledge, how developing skills and how developing knowledge can really help you go from that talent to that theme. Strength theme to a strength. Strength. Do you guys remember what a strength is?
Ability to provide consistent near-perfect performance in a given activity.
Yes. Yes. That is a strength. Providing near-perfect performance. Y'all remember what a talent is?
Naturally recurring pattern of thought, feeling, or behavior that can be productively applied.
Yes. Reoccurring thought, a pattern of behavior, thought. And it's something that gives you the idea of the capacity to be able to do something. Do you guys remember that all strengths start as a talent? Remember the diamond in the rough idea? The talent is that diamond in the rough, that natural ability that you have to do something well. And then when you polish it, that's when you get to the strength. That's when you've practiced it, you've worked at it, you've developed those skills, you've developed that knowledge, and now you can do it nearly perfect as a strength. Okay? Make sure you can say the differences. I'm looking for clear differences between the word strength, talent, and even strength theme. Do you guys remember what a strength theme is?
Isn't it like the similar groups of groups?
Yes. Yes. a group of similar talents. So, do you guys remember what the Clifton Strengths test or assessment measures? Yes, talent. So when you get those 5, those signature themes, those are your strength themes. Okay, I know I've used the word strength kind of to say it for short, but those 5 strengths that you got, those are your strength themes. The strength themes that we talked about with Temple Grandin Tuesday, those are strength themes. So when you see that on the exam, that is what that means, strength theme. It's a group of talents. So it's just really understanding that definition and knowing that a strength starts as a talent. So the assessment measures your talents, which gives you these strength themes, the 5, just showing kind of collectively where those talents are in reference to the assessment. Does that make sense? Are there any questions on that? Okay, so just make sure that you can identify when it says that in the language of just like strength theme, what are these themes? Those are those 34 themes of talent that we see on the Clifton, or see on the card. So check the PowerPoints, look in your textbook. There's a Jeopardy game on Canvas now you can play if you want. But make sure that you know the differences between that. It's on the exam. You want to make sure you're prepared and we can see it clearly. Then with Temple Grandin, of course you want to just be able to do like we talked about with her strength themes when we kind of gave those 5 for the class overall and then 5 she gave. You can give your 5 that you've given for her on this exam, but you need to make sure that you can give film examples and you can clearly define what those strengths are. Not just a guess and defining them. Make sure you're defining them as it is on the reference card. You want to be able to articulate some of the ideas of strengths and weaknesses in reference to her. Also, just being able to articulate the difference between working on your strengths and weakness. What does Clifton Strengths say about that? Should you work on your strengths or should you work on your weaknesses, and why?
Strengths, because if you focus on your weaknesses, you'll just be average at everything. And
Absolutely.
on your strengths, you'll be great at those.
Absolutely. Trying to be great at everything leads to mediocrity. So you want to focus on those strengths, build those up. Be aware of your weaknesses, but your primary focus should be on building your strengths. Okay? So that's pretty much the exam in a nutshell. If you study this, you'll be fine. If you do these questions and can write about these questions, this exam is essay completely. So you want to be sure that you can really write this in your own words. So it's short essay, long essay. Okay? Any questions? I told you this class would be a little bit short, but I wanted to make sure I gave you guys the opportunity to talk about anything if y'all had any questions before.
Will there be like 34 themes? Will there be themes on there and then we have to know them, or will we get to pick our own? Like if we know like a couple of them will be okay, but we need to know like all of them.
Yeah, if you know a few, you'll be okay. I mean, I think the more you know, the better. I'll say that. But if you don't know, every single one of them, you will not fail the exam. Just knowing them will help you out. It'll benefit you if you happen to know those. And then certainly knowing them when you are defining them, in other realms too that you'll see on the exam. Any other questions?
I have one, but it's not about the exam.
Okay.
It says that we have a quiz on Thursday, like next Thursday too. Is that like
Yes.
something chapter 4?
Yes, so next Thursday we'll move back into the Blue Book
Okay.
and we'll start working on that. And we'll have an activity that we'll do on Thursday. So yeah, you'll want to make sure you have read the chapter to complete that quiz.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll be back in the Blue Book, Discovering the Leader in You text next week.
I have one little thing to add about the exam.
Yes.
make sure y'all read the instructions carefully. On the last exam, for the short answer, you only had to answer 2 of the 3 questions, and a lot of people answered 3. So I took your top 2 scores, but in the future, I'm just going to take the top 2 questions because it takes a lot of time. I'm sorry. So make sure y'all read the instructions really carefully. That way, you don't lose out on points or anything, and you can give your best answers.
Yeah, for sure. And if it's one of those you see that you just have no clue about, you can skip it. You don't have to try to push yourself to figure it out. Because, you know, you can tell when you do that. I've done it. I know it. I know the game. So, yeah, make sure you're reading those directions because they're not set up to where you typically have to do all the essays. You're picking either 2 of the 3 or 1 of the 2 or something like that.
Just trying to help you out, too, because that's a lot of writing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Any other questions? Remember, and I'll have all those other grades for assignments and essays, or not essays, sorry, assignments and exams and everything updated in Canvas. I'll try to do that over the weekend. So remember, if you do really well on this exam and you did really well on the first one, then you could be in the position once I give you your final grades at the end of the semester after you've turned in your last essay and all the rest of these assignments, then you may not have to take the final. So this could be your last exam. It's only 3 in this class. So it's designed that way if you do really well in the first 2, that the way the points are averaged out, you could drop it. That's the only assignment that would be a drop, would be an exam. And also too, if you've done all the assignments and you've been in class and watched lectures and all those things, every activity that you've done should have prepared you for this exam. Any other questions or anything? Oh, sorry.
So just to clarify on the strength themes, is the theme like just those 5 that it gives you, or is all the individual strengths like considered a strength?
So all of them are strength themes. The 5 you got are just yours.
Okay.
Yes, they're just yours. And then the 5 we talked about with Temple are just her 5, you know, or whatever you choose, you know, to think that is hers, that sort of thing. So, yeah, they're all strength themes. So. Any questions? Those are questions. Okay. Well, perfect. Like I said, all of this is on Canvas, as well as obviously all the PowerPoints, and then the Jeopardy game, if you want to play that, that's on there too. And that'll really help you with learning or memorizing the strength themes. So, well, thank you all for coming. I'll see you guys Tuesday. Let me know even in the meantime if you have any questions. And remember, essay is due today. And make sure you've reviewed the sheet.